The next, 48 hours, and most of it will be in this office, okay, is to get to know these kids. Number one, on paper, which covers half of it. Number two, try to match some film up, and then just get them in front. I just want to get to know these guys, what makes them tick. To be honest with you, I'm not not going to read something and remember it. I got to get to know these guys. And that's what, being in the weight room with them, talking to Coach Ferentz, talking to Coach Brian Ferentz, and really having an understanding of what making these guys tick, because I think it is important that we reach everybody in that room that gives great effort. I don't care if they're experienced or not, will be coached the same. And the expectation level will be the same. And so, one of the things I look forward to is the first time I do wings and ribs at my house with my wife, and we have those big guys over, and the cost of living just went up when we had those guys. But yeah, I think it's going to be. Haven't talked about that a lot. Haven't gotten that question. I think it's a great question. Not only are there great coaches in the O-line here, some real good experience, but I think some of the best teachers early on are going to be those veteran players, or can be, and that should be the case all the time.
You look at your background, which is similar to Kelton's in some ways, where you salt of the earth. I mean, Division III football, built your way up. I mean, what did you learn and what did you take away from your time at Concordia growing up, and how does that apply to the coach and the person you are today?
My initial reaction is to say that there's good coaches at every level. Unfortunately today, the day of the agent, this, that, and the other thing, people don't go through the rigorous process that coach has laid out here. So maybe a D3 guy gets a shot. I think that's pretty cool. I've crossed paths on the way up with a lot of really good football coaches, whether it was at UW Stevens Point, where John Mish taught me recruiting, find an angle, how to recruit. Okay, then you move on and you go to North Dakota State and you're in the back room and you're sleeping on the floor because you make $6,000 a year, and it is what it is. And Pat Perlis is teaching you about, just confront and demand every day. And keep doing that until, man, we push through, And so, I never would trade my path for anything. I look back now, and there's nothing more that still makes me grin or gives me an appreciation as, to be in the Hall of Fame at Concordia as a quarterback. I hold that pretty near and dear, and it's pretty cool in the senior year to have some control of the offense and things like that, and been, just fascinated with that. Best football player I've been around was a zero-star guy. Nobody recruited him. And he was the second pick in the NFL draft. So I think people come in all shapes and forms, and I appreciate everybody I've come across. We don't have enough time today to thank all those people, but they all know who they are. I stay in strong communication with everybody.
This work.
And I think Coach Copeland touched on, the word loyalty several times. And I've kind of been a guy that hasn't reached out very much. I will not be on my phone in January looking for jobs. If somebody calls, we'll take a peek. And what simply had happened was that I saw special teams running backs, and what's Coach Brian Ferentz going to coach? And I called Seth. I said, Seth, I have a great deal of interest. And I got to know Seth Wallace. Man, do I respect him. I'm not saying this arrogantly, but in Wisconsin, I'm in schools. And I'm like, who is this Division 1A guy that's hitting 9-10 schools a day? Because I shouldn't be seeing this much paper trail. And so me and Seth, shortly through a couple of mutual friends out there in the high school world, just built a relationship, and I did reach out, and hopefully, or thankfully, I got my application in on the day of the deadline. And, ever since then, it's just, communication with Coach and Brian over the phone, and then I think I was one of the last guys to interview. I'm not sure on that, last Thursday.
You mentioned sleeping on the floor 6 hours.